Sharks are a vital and fascinating part of our ocean life. We know of more than 300 species of sharks, yet despite their frightening image, most much prefer to dine on their fellow fish than us humans. Whether they are sticking to their somewhat unfriendly actions or are showcasing their intellect and adaptation, there is a lot more to these toothy fish than first meets the eye. Whether you are a shark fan or a little afraid, it's undeniable how interesting these creatures are. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 shark discoveries that may alter your view of these ocean creatures. Drone photographer spots and saves man being attacked by shark. Just like the secondary character in a cheesy film, sometimes someone sat on the sidelines can launch into action, and one amateur drone pilot did just this as he managed to capture a shark on camera, fulfilling its villainous act for the day, as it appeared to be moving towards a spear fisherman. Matt Woods, amateur drone pilot and photographer, was out on his balcony in Bondi Beach, Australia, in July 2021 flying his Mavic 2 Zoom, when a relaxed afternoon capturing an ocean view took a surprisingly eventful turn. He spotted a spear fisherman wrestling with what seemed to be an aggressive mako shark. When he spoke in an interview about the event, Woods described the horror and panic as he watched the shark take a lunge towards the man, who was swimming and using only a spear weapon to put distance between himself and the creature. Woods described the shark as circling the man, continuing to say the diver was fending the shark off and poking it with his spear. The shark then went after his float that is attached to the diver. He was charging it and trying to bite it, thrashing it about. Upon seeing the battle taking place, Woods and his girlfriend got in touch with the local lifeguards, all while keeping an eye on the situation via his drone. By being able to keep tabs on the confrontation from afar, Woods was able to keep an idea of the location, guiding lifeguards to the man's rescue. The aggressive nature of the shark was cause for even greater concern than merely the frightening presence of the creature. Looking back, the only reported instances of attacks on humans by mako sharks is only a handful, with 9 being shown on record as having taken place since 1580, with the solitary case having been fatal. This proves just how rare this scenario, caught on the drone's camera, truly is. For the most part, mako sharks do not tend to attack and do not consider humans to be prey. These rare instances make a lasting impact upon our impression of the species. The size, speed, and the ease with which they could cause us such harm is enough for many to be fearful, despite the scarce nature of incidents like this. Some have mentioned that spear fishermen are often the victims of shark attacks, with it being suggested that the mako sharks are attracted to the bait. Despite this suggestion, there's insufficient evidence to know if this was the case at this time. While sharks are not overly violent towards humans, the rare occasions upon which they are truly terrifying. Young great white sharks are expanding their range. The climate crisis has been affecting our world in a multitude of ways. From rising sea levels to hotter days, there are countless ways that this crisis is steadily but increasingly destroying our planet. One more unexpected result of this gradual heating is how it has impacted ocean life. The great white shark is a species that has survived on Earth for many, many years, turning off the evolutionary path of the mako shark ancestor approximately 60 million years ago. These creatures have survived through dinosaurs, ice ages, and have been swimming in the oceans long before the world as we know it today even began to come into existence. Despite their steady and hardy evolutionary advantages, it seems as though the impressive great white sharks will have to go through some more changes as they adjust to the rising temperatures of the oceans. A new 2022 study has begun to look at unexpected sightings of young great white sharks turning up at the edges of Monterey Bay, south of San Francisco. These sightings suggest that the sharks have been pushing their inhabited regions of the ocean northward. Since 2014, the young sharks seem to have stretched their living quarters up north by around 600 kilometers. This shift seems to reflect the increased difficulty of finding waters that are within a suitable and preferred temperature range, according to researchers from the Monterey Bay Aquarium. This thermal shift stands to pose a threat to the great white population. The chief scientist at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, Dr. Carl van Houten, said, "Nature has many ways to tell us the status quo is being disrupted, but it's up to us to listen. Seeing sharks in areas they have, in the past, not frequented is just one piece of evidence telling us that the effects of climate change upon the ocean need to be drastically addressed. Of course, the natural world is composed of several delicate ecosystems, and so the movement of these sharks is not an isolated phenomenon, but rather one event initiating a chain reaction. The northern movement of the great white sharks has impacted the sea otters living at the top of the bay too, prompting a possible relocation of these animals in the not-too-distant future. These aquarium scientists began using electronic tags to study the young or juvenile great white sharks 2 decades ago in Southern California. These tags are what have allowed us to observe the correlation between the large Pacific heatwave back in 2014 to 2016, which severely impacted the south of California, and the subsequent movement of these sharks moving further north after sightings near Aptos, California. Typically, these waters remain in the average of 13 degrees Celsius, but as we have seen an increase in extreme temperatures, sometimes these waters can reach up to 21 degrees Celsius in the summer months. This hot water is not in keeping with the thermal preferences of the great white shark. Data collected over a 38-year period revealed that the great white sharks would tend to move into the cooler ocean areas, so it's no surprise that the heat has encouraged them to be on the move. Dr. Chris Lowe, a co-author of the study and the director of the Shark Lab at California State University in Long Beach, explained that while upsetting, this shift towards the north does align with the expectations biologists held as ocean temperatures continue to soar. He stated, "Frankly, I'll be surprised if we don't see this northerly shift across more species." The research conducted on this shark movement can be found detailed in the scientific reports. Hopefully we can turn things around as a planet and lessen our detrimental impact upon the oceans and slow down the rate of these animals moving. Young great white sharks use training grounds to learn to hunt. A 2021 study found that young great white sharks have designated areas of the sea that they use to perfect their hunting skills before they reach into adulthood, letting them prepare for the challenges that come with the larger ocean predators that could be competing for the same prey. This study has been published in the journal Environmental Biology of Fishes and has detailed 3,000 shark sightings throughout the coast of Mossel Bay in South Africa. Researchers believe that this bay provides some sort of sheltered environment, giving a small amount of protection to the young sharks. Making the bay even more of an ideal practice ring is the wildlife within it. The bay is home to plenty of prey, including fish, rays, seals, and even small whales. The researchers on this project claim that their work could help to protect the species from extinction. Great white sharks are currently classified as vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. We don't know masses about the species. It's clear to see that they are reducing in number. Dr. Nicholas Ray, a researcher at Nottingham Trent University's School of Animal, Rural and Environmental Science, explained that by developing a knowledge of the habits that these animals use, they can protect the spaces that they take advantage of. He continued, explaining that the awareness could help to lead further legislation intended to protect this species. Researchers added that we can observe that sharks have the capacity for social learning, and so the bay serves as a nursery and training ground, allowing their young to learn to hunt in a somewhat safe environment. Their selected areas that are seemingly reserved for preparing for adulthood are interesting, though we do not know much about how different spaces are used throughout their lives. Hopefully, as research continues to develop, we will be able to find out more about the vulnerable species, possibly aiding in their protection. But what are your thoughts on these shark discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.